All right, welcome back. We are ready to get underway with game two between the University of Windsor and the University of Waterloo. We had a little technical hang up there, but we are ready to go once again. We're coming off a huge upset to start off the match, putting the University of Windsor up 1-0 as No Big Deal took down Gerbil Light in game one in a ZVZ. And we're ready here to have yet another mirror matchup, starting off with the University of Windsor looking to carry that momentum forward. It is the Orange Terran Soul. And in the upper mid, here we have his opponent trying to turn it around for Waterloo, the Yellow Terran Zoku. So TVT on Metropolis. All right, get up, bathroom break. Make yourself a sandwich, have a nap, talk with the family, then come on back and you should be ready for something to happen. This Metropolis, very long games typically on this map, particularly when they're involving Terran. You can split up the map relatively easily, and it can turn into a very long game with siege tanks and planetaries sealing up these two entrances, which then solidify 5 whole bases. However, before that happens, you can have some aggression. It's not the most closed off, though it is a little tight choke here into the natural, so a bit difficult to have aggression there. But there is a lot of air room if we look around the edges here. A lot of room for drops, or perhaps even sieging up the low ground and elevating in. You can have some aggressive tactics. So it doesn't necessarily go immediately into that super long game, but it is a relatively large map, and it can definitely go into that. If we look at each side, we have a wall off here from Soul denying information, but if we actually look at what is going on in each base, we see that we are going gasless on each side. We do have that constant production SCVs up until getting that orbital. Looks like both players are going to be going for relatively quick. Gases expands. So the deny of the scout creates a little bit of uncertainty on the side of Zoku, but it's traded off with a bit slower of a command center. So we'll have to see what each ends up doing and what Zoku ends up doing to try and get a little bit more information. If we look at Soul's side of things, he just doesn't really bother to get all that much information at all as he is shooed away. And we do have this second SCV that has snuck its way up to the upper right. On patrol here, that would be one way to scout for Banshees, just leave, instead of, Protosses like to drop pylons to spot for drops. Maybe putting an SCV up here is another thing, or we could see some sort of proxy. However, we have no gas, so not sort of any proxy factory or starport. Instead, we're going to have a proxy command center. So we're going to hide this over here in the upper right. That is on top of the command center that's already in his main base, going into now a second barracks. So if this goes unscouted, we could see a big economy come out of Soul. Now, the best part of this is Soul doesn't even know that Zoku has even taken his natural at this point. All he knows is that there is a Marine on the map somewhere. So the scouting information, very, very limited. So taking quite the risk here, but it could really pay off if that economy is able to kick in, scaring off this SCV, who sees that there is no command center up in the natural as of yet. So he's the second barracks building, but not the command center over here. In the meantime, we do have the double gas up, which is going into a factory, immediately into Starport, which also has a tech lab. So it looks like we're going to be going to slightly delayed Banshees, getting that command center up first instead of going immediately into the Banshees. I can't say I'm actually very much of a fan of the Banshee off of one rack's command center. Maybe if you're going directly into mech, but here we have the scan, sees exactly what's going on. Doesn't know if there's cloak or no cloak, but he sees that a Banshee is coming based on this build. Because normally it's kind of tough to get. You can do something when you go straight into Banshee. You can do something with the with the Banshee, but no, pretty much no matter what. But it gets harder and harder as players are a bit more comfortable since it's such a common opening. So let alone having it this late, you're kind of trying to catch your opponent by surprise from my perspective. So the way I see it, both players going in to try and catch their opponents a little off guard on each side. Right now, Soul definitely not going to be getting caught off guard as he's a little supply blocked here at 46. Depot just finishes up there now. In terms of Soul's hidden base so far, unscouted. Now we do have the Banshee path. Where is that headed off to? So here we go. It actually takes a detour, and we're going to have to follow this Banshee as it's going relatively dangerously close to the path of this third command center as he dodges the watchtower range. A bit odd to be dodging the watchtower when he already saw it was scanned, but there we go, just barely in the vision. Sees, wait a minute. Wait a minute. What's this? What is this? And here come 7 Marines, and that will do it. Doesn't look like Soul even noticed. Now we do have the Banshee. A quick pull away. So far, 2 kills on the Banshee. Oh, actually does not even pick off this gas. This SCV mining gas, but in the meantime we do have the Marines over here. And if we look here, 7 workers killed now. If we look at the worker count, it is actually 38 to 44, so not the position Soul was looking to be in with that third command center. Now, not the worst position necessarily. He does already have the completed third command center. It's just the tech that he's behind in. The difficulty now is that this is known, he doesn't have the tech, and he's lost the SCVs. That combination is a bit rough. But in terms of the progression of the tech, we do have siege mode now coming out of Zoku on the side of Soul. We're going straight into bio, not going into tanks as of yet, or if at all. +1, concussive shell, +1 armor as well. We do have a double engineering bay, meaning he took this greed to the furthest extent. We do have a push coming out here from Zoku, and it's going to be tough. The deny on this base up here in the upper right has meant that he hasn't really had the resources to pump out the necessary number of bio units to really hold this off effectively. Tries to catch him unsieged. Is there enough with the reinforcements? No, still not enough. The 1-1 complete on both sides, but it is just not enough. The sheer size of army right there was the problem, and now in a lot of trouble here, down 30 supply. If we look at the army supply, 46 to 18. Accidental lift up there, but drops it back down. Sieges up, picking off supply depots within range of this barracks with the reactor. They'll be picking off units as they come out, and this is an almost impossible situation for Soul. Here come the SCVs. He'll probably be able to clean this up, but at what cost? Will he be able to recover from this? Takes down the medevac, taking down Marines, but how many are left? If we look, 25 SCVs to 58. And we have that third command center finished for Zoku, and this is looking worse and worse and tougher for the University of Windsor. Terran player moving out with the SCVs. Just going to call it right here and go all in with this, I guess. Not going to bother sending those back to mine. Looking to do some damage right now, but the production is just too good for his opponent. More siege tanks, too many Marines, just too many everything right now, and this is not going to work out. He's going to try and run up the ramp. Will it work? No. Siege fire, SCVs, and this is pretty much it, you'd have to think. 44 supply to 122. We look at the unit count, 20 SCVs to 63. Behind in tech, behind in SCVs, even bases, I guess. I guess he's not behind in bases, but pretty much everything else. I would like to try and make this exciting, but I'm not sure there's any possible way. Okay, I've got a possible way to come back. Okay, so if Zoku does not attack for the next 6 minutes, Seoul could get up 4 Ghost Academies, 4 nukes, and simultaneously nuke Zoku's 3 bases and army. If all of those land, I think he's got this. Okay, I'm calling it now. All right, the 4-prong nuke. It's going to turn this around. But right now it's going to be tough to get there. 74 supply to 153 as this little marauding pack of Marine Marauder looking to get anything done. Retakes that watchtower, sees a gigantic army of death looming in on him, and decides to turn around. Now, fortunately for Zoku, he does have a couple medevacs here, with 2 more coming in to support, which is not really a luxury right now that Seoul has. It's going to be quite tough as he's still on 1-1. His 2-2 only half completed, 3-3 on the way for Zoku, as well as an army supply that is half his opponent, and he has 5 siege tanks. A nice little flank there from the high ground, but not quite enough out of Seoul. And that's it. There's the GG. Looks like Waterloo's taking it back, going to tie it up 1-1. We'll move into game 3.